time for meditatsi. So we're gonna, it's a little dusty, go into our story. We're gonna be casting ourselves. So get comfortable, lie down as you are, and let's take this little filmmaking journey together. Start with our singing bowl. Follow the breath. And as you're inhaling and exhaling, feel into the anticipation in the space between the inhalation and the exhalation. Just that brief pause, that moment before. Almost like a roller coaster ascending the rickety heights before the big drop. So the inhalation, building the anticipation. As you breathe in, and then that moment that you're teetering right at the top, at the precipice, before you see the big drop below you, not knowing how far you're going to fall. And that's the exhale. And this is the excitement, the roller coaster of life and life events. And it keeps us pinned to our seat and excited for each rise and fall, twist and turn, and loop the loop. There are many different kinds of roller coasters. In the same way, there are many different kinds of stories, each with its own twists and turns, and ups and downs, and roundabouts that create a force that moves you around in the seat from left to right, backwards and forwards, up and down. So allow your focus to shift to this next stretch of track in your life, this next chapter in your story that's ahead of you. And create in your mind, feel into the kind of story you wish it to be. Because ultimately, the roller coaster is a fun experience. It's designed to put a smile on our face, even though it has chills and spills and takes our breath away. So, this next length of track, what is the narrative? What is the feeling? We're entering summer. So is it a summer movie? A blockbuster? An action adventure? An entrepreneurial business story? Is it a cause movie where the actors are fighting for a cause they believe in, righting a wrong, seeking justice? Is it a love story filled with passion, and cuddles and romance? Is it a travel journey, being on one's own, hiking into the mountains on a solo trek, seeking for oneself? Is it a family comedy where all of the quirks and challenges of the personalities that we're stuck with in this lifetime end up transforming into laughter? What is the genre, the feel, and the entertainment value of the story ahead? The story you're about to step into. So imagine this is a script in your hands. Perhaps you've made notes to it, marked it up, read it top to bottom, backwards and forwards, many times, so you have an ideal version of the story in mind. Only the star, who is you, still needs to be cast. Who is going to play that role? So take your script under your arm and step through a door and walk into this darkened room where you take a seat at the front of the theater. And it's just you sitting in your theater seat. And the lights come up, illuminating the stage or the rehearsal space in front of you. And you're going to audition the best versions of yourself for this role that you'd like to cast in this film you have in mind for this next stage of life. So we have this best version of ourselves in mind, the best version, the best casting for the role. The look, the expression, the versatility, the resilience, the stature, all of these qualities of the actor in the role. So as we sit back in our seat with our script in our lap, we look up to receive the first version of ourself stepping into the light to audition for the role. So looking at this version of ourselves, it's a version from our past where we've performed well or impressed others. We're proud of ourselves. We've done something we didn't think that we could do, or come through a trying period successfully. We've graduated, we've won the race. So this is a past version of ourselves where we were our best. So look at the expression on your face. What is the age of this person, this version of you? What's the length of their hair? Are their eyes sparkling? What's the quality of their voice? How are they dressed? How do they carry themselves? Confidently, quietly, timidly. And as you take this version of you in, we're going to evaluate whether this is the version to cast in this next stage, this next story? Or is there a different look you have in mind? Is there a different persona? Is it an evolution of this actor who's standing before you? Who is the next best version of you? So how would you change this actor if they could transform before your eyes, if you were able to transform yourself? What is the distinguishing characteristic? Is this someone brave and bold? Is this someone relaxing and chilling out, laid back? Is this someone who's dynamic in that they can move from sadness and tears to laughter and joy? Is this someone who can change their body to be suitable for the role, become stronger in their muscles, leaner, healthier? Something suitable for the story you have in mind. Is it a physical role? Is it an emotional role? Is it an intellectual role? What is the ideal player for this narrative you're casting? So, as the casting director, you can ask this best version of yourself what their notes are on the story, what they'd like to tell you about this part they've been studying and rehearsing, because this version is a version of yourself you're stepping into. So what advice, what can they tell you about the role? What will be required to perform it well? Feel into what this offering might be. What would you tell this version of yourself to prepare? Do you need to train your mind or your body? Do you need to change your diet? Do you need to get more sleep? Is there something you need to study or read to enhance your understanding of the subject matter? Is there someone who you can emulate, a figure out in the world, or someone in your life who can be a mentor for this part, this next challenge, this role? What do you need to do to prepare to engage in this story successfully? Perhaps it's a healing story. What would you need to do to be healed, or to be the one healing others? In this way, we can audition ourselves for the things that we'd like to experience in life. We can play the role in our mind as if it were happening for real. And in fact, that's how life unfolds. We write the script, we cast ourselves, we spend our time learning and rehearsing and preparing for all of the various twists and turns in the plot, the unfolding story. And sometimes there are unexpected surprises for everyone involved in making this movie. But when we are prepared in our role, we can roll with it. We know how to react in character because we're inhabiting ourselves fully. We become the role that we're casting. We create a vision of ourselves and cast it before us, and then step into that vision. Just as if we were watching a movie unfold on the screen. A movie of a roller coaster where we're buying our ticket and taking our seat as this actor in this part. Do we choose a seat in the center of the coaster? Or are we sitting in the front so that we're the first to see what's coming ahead? Or do we sit all the way in the back so that we feel the extra whip around the turns, the extra excitement clinging to the edge of our seat? Are we alone in the car, or do we have a companion beside us? Who would you choose to ride next to you? To be pressed against each other when you go around the curves? Your legs squeezing into one another as the centrifugal forces push you from left to right. Who is the person beside you, cheering and hollering, clapping, crying? So whether alone or with a companion, you've been riding this coaster, and this next set of track can be whatever you choose to make it. And you can cast any of the myriad versions of yourself in the part of riding this roller coaster of life, knowing ultimately it's just a projection on a screen of a beautiful actor experiencing the thrills and chills of life. And when the projector runs out of film and the lights come up, you're there in the theater, having enjoyed the adventure, with a smile on your face, realizing that you're more than whatever was being projected on the screen. You are the director. You are the writer. And this is your life script. What's your story going to be?